his wake and then back right, keeping his balance incredibly. Touchdown, Delvin Williams. But in answer to Williams, the Houston Oilers have their own brilliant rookie, the Heisman Trophy winner, number 34, Earl Campbell. He of the great speed and the crunching power, carrying tacklers with him. This and evidence against Atlanta. But Miami also has a great aerial game, led by the sophisticated veteran quarterback, Bob Griese. So polished, and with that unstoppable receiver, Nat Moore. What's the answer from Houston, which goes against Miami tonight on Monday Night Football? That veteran, having his greatest year ever, Dan Pastorini. And he's got his receivers, too, led by Kenny Burrow, one of the best there is at what he does.
20 seconds to air. Stand by, all cameras. Stand by in videotape. Stand by slow-mo. Stand by to open your mics on the field. Stand by in graphics. Ready with your opening supers. Stand by the announcers in the booth, please. And roll tape. 3, 2, 1. Take tape.
This shot from the top of the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. A sellout crowd on hand, 50,000. It could have been 100,000. Tonight's attraction, one of the hottest tickets in recent years here in Houston. And live from the Astrodome, ABC's NFL Monday Night Football, a top AFC matchup. The Miami Dolphins against the Houston Oilers. This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by GMC Truck and Coach Division of General Motors and your local GMC dealer. At GMC, trucks are what we're all about. And by Lowenbrau. When you want the taste of a truly great beer, there's really only one. Tonight, let it be Lowenbrau.
There are the standings in the AFC Eastern Division. A win for Miami tonight would tie them with the Pats, who beat the Jets in a tough one yesterday. But New England and Miami both quite apparently headed for the playoffs. There are the standings in the AFC Central Division. Pittsburgh ahead of Houston, but Houston very much alive for a playoff berth and good enough to have beaten Pittsburgh on a Monday night earlier. You remember a great game, 24-17. The crowd behind me roaring. Pom-poms everywhere in display as the Houston Oilers are about to be introduced. Hello again, everyone. We think tonight we've got about as good a matchup as you could have in the National Football League at this stage of the season. And at the very beginning of our telecast, we showed you the strengths of both teams, and each team seems to answer the other in respective strengths. Miami, with a truly superb coach in Don Shula. You don't have to build that man up. I spoke with him yesterday about what Miami has to do to beat Houston. Here's that talk.
In a nutshell, Don, what do you have to do to beat this Houston team?
Well, we have to be a little more consistent than we've been in the past. We've had some good first halves, but in the second half, especially in our last 3 ball games, we've gone to sleep. I think that we've had 2 field goals in the second half of 3 ball games, and that's not good enough. Houston has demonstrated the ability to come back, and I think that was evident last week when they're down 23-0 in New England. And New England has a good defense, and they've got a good offense, but Houston wins the football game 26-23. Defensively, we've got to show more consistency, too. We're good against Dallas. I was pleased with our defense against the run. And then last week against Buffalo, we don't get the job done. And Curtis Brown has a fine day against us. So we got to be better defensively and more consistent. We got to play 2 halves offensively.
A poised, expert Don Shula. What about Houston? What about its coach, Bum Phillips? To answer those questions, none other than the Giffer.
They like their football down here, don't they, Coach? There's a wild group. They love football in Texas. We took a look at Dan Pastorini at the top of the show. He's having his best year as an Oiler. He has a lot of help, too, from a guy named Earl Campbell. You also saw him. But to me, the Houston Oilers, well, defense is what they're all about. They're number 1 in the AFC. And, of course, Miami, the highest scoring team in the National Football League, through 11 games, will be sorely tested tonight. Robert Brazil, I think, stands out in my mind as really the key to this rough, tough defensive unit of the Houston Oilers, and they sort of, they sort of reflect the personality, the thinking of their coach, Bum Phillips. He's a remarkable man. He's a fun-loving, country-style man, and he is for football really in the proper perspective, and I had a chance to visit with him last night, and here's his thoughts about this game.
You know, Bum, I think one of the things that you bring to this game, a lot of other coaches don't, and that is you don't seem to die with a loss. You don't seem to be, you don't carry it over to the next day. What is your philosophy about this?
Well, like you always say, maybe smiling on the outside, but I'm bleeding on the inside. I die just like everybody else does, but, you know, when you're in a position, like I've always felt like on the sideline, if you get excited and emotional and curse and stomp and rant and rave, your football team is going to stomp. They're going to react like you react. And if you have a loss, I think it's up to the head coach to try to pull everybody else together. And the best way I know to do it is to be a leader. You know, do it yourself. Talking's easy.
Bum Phillips, you heard Don Shula. The stage is set for a truly great football game, we feel. Sit back, put your toes up, enjoy it, and we'll be back with a kickoff right after this message.
If you're in the market for a new car this year, you could spend a good deal of time in showrooms like this. There's a lot to learn. Cars have changed immensely in the last few years, so Buick dealers urge you to consider the offerings very carefully. What you see in a Buick showroom may then look even better, and you won't end up with something that's almost a Buick. And why should you? After all, life is to enjoy.
Zenith announces a breakthrough. System 3. System 3. The best Zenith ever. The best ever. A brand new picture tube for the sharpest Zenith picture ever. Sharpest picture. And an all-new modular chassis. All new. Designed to be the best performing, the most reliable color TV in Zenith history. The most reliable. Zenith. System 3. System 3. It's the best Zenith ever.
Life is for living, and Visa is there.
Antique treasures, touring pleasures, bright fabric by the yard, magic castles, Moorish tassels, teasing the guard. Camp wagons, there's dragons, aloha or goodbye, fettuccine, sukiyaki, ice cream and apple pie, Spanish dancers, Arctic prancers, your own place in the sun.
Visa is the most widely recognized card in the world. Visa, we're keeping up with you.
We spoke a short while ago about the almost carnival collegiate atmosphere here in the Astrodome. Almost every fan has a blue and white pom-pom symbolic of the colors of their Houston Oilers football team. The Houston Oilers on your right, 7-4, a couple of games behind the Pittsburgh Steelers, of course, but they are well within contention there because this team has really come on in the second half. They'll kick off. Tony Fritsch will kick off for Houston, and deep for the Miami Dolphins is number 82, Dorial Harris, and number 27, Gary Davis. Miami, of course, 8-3. They need a win tonight, as Howard mentioned, to tie with New England in the AFC's Eastern Division. Tony Fritsch, having a big year as a place kicker, will get this game underway. And Dorial Harris bobbles it right at the goal line. And Harris, not sure whether or not he can take the touchback or not, moves out, plays it safe to the 18-yard line, where Miami will begin with, of course, Bob Griese at quarterback, number 12. The running backs, number 24, Delvin Williams, we've talked of him, leading the National Football League in rushing, having a great year. Leroy Harris, number 38, is there. Wide receivers, Dorial Harris, number 82, Nat Moore, number 89, each has caught 32 passes. The tight end, Andre Tillman, having his best year. And let's take a look quickly at the offensive line. There you have. And on the right side, Wayne Moore is returning for Mike Kern. It could be a key position, that right tackle spot for Miami tonight. The bespectacled Bob Griese. On 1st and 10 from their own 18-yard line. Delvin Williams gets the call and finds an opening and bursts out to the 30-yard line. First down, Miami. And quickly, we'll look at the defense. It's a 3-4. If you follow this game, you know that first three will be Alvin Bethea, number 65. Curly Culp is the nose guard, 78. James Young, 77. The linebackers, and they are good. 52 is Robert Brazil. Greg Bingham, number 54. Steve Kiner, number 57. Ted Washington, 59. And there is a solid secondary. But where the Oilers really make the defensive play is with those linebackers behind that strong front three. The 1st and 10, right at the 30-yard line for Miami. Dorial Harris split to the left. This is Nat Moore in motion. Del Williams gets the call, bounces off one Houston Oiler and moves up to the 32. A gain of 2. It'll be 2nd and 8.
It's impossible to talk about that trade that brought Del Williams to Miami without noting already, as we have noted, that this man is the key to the whole Miami offense. Don Shula told you what kind of player he is, or at least touched upon it. There's Shula. He fits in exactly to Shula's scheme of things. He can run, he can block, he can catch.
2nd down and 8. The ball at the 32-yard line. Nat Moore in motion. Griese to the air. Looks out in the flat. Goes to the big fullback. Harris is up close to a 1st down. He has it at the 43-yard line. 1st down, Miami.
Harris is again a reflection of the drafting strength of a man named Bobby Beathard, who used to be the personnel director for Miami, who's now the general manager of Washington. We've talked about him at length in past games. Harris acquired, along with Gary Davis, his 5th and 6th round draft choices, and the science of drafting begins not in the top rounds, but in the 4th round.
Griese brings the Dolphins up. The ball just over the 43-yard line. A very disciplined football team. They reflect their quarterback. They reflect the coaching of Don Shula. And this year they have this man, Del Williams, who erupts down to the 37-yard line. Another 1st down for Miami. And if you think Del Williams is the workhorse, you're right. He's carried the ball 214 times coming into tonight. Their nearest other man with 64 attempts, Harris. He's something, Howard.
All right, let's look at it from the end zone. That hole was opened by 62, Jim Langer. All night long, you're going to watch, there's Delvin. You're going to watch Jim Langer against the nose guard, Curly Culp, who in his own right is a great player at his position. A key matchup.
1st and 10. 38-yard line, Houston Oilers. Griese again, floods his backs to the left. Can't find the downfield receiver, dumps it off to Harris, and he bobbles the ball. And quickly, he's back for the recovery and picks up 2-3 yards to the 35-yard line.
A big break for Miami right there. A big break. And in that man, Griese, they call him Old Four Eyes in Miami because he wears the specs. The most polished, in my view, the most sophisticated, the most poised quarterback in the National Football League. Good enough to have won 2 Super Bowls.
They call him All-Pro, and that's what he indeed is. 2nd down and 8. The ball at the 35-yard line. Harris single setback. Flag is down. You saw the movement. Going for Nat Moore. He holds on, but keep in mind a flag is down as Willie Alexander makes the tackle at the 9.
Play be called back.
No, Houston offside.
They'll decline.
Curly Culp making the quick movement, and Miami has a 1st and goal, and they are a machine in the opening moments tonight.
And a great offensive team, as we noted at the beginning of the telecast. Look at this play again. What do you say about Nat Moore, number 89? What do you do about him? Look at that catch. He is virtually unstoppable. Shula uses him often in the backfield as a 3rd back. He can do anything on offense. A 4th round draft choice. Another tribute to the departed Beathard.
8 touchdowns thus far for Nat Moore. 32 touchdowns in a little more than 4 years. 1st and goal. The ball at the 9-yard line. Leroy Harris follows Del Williams. Bounces off a Houston Oiler to the 5-yard line. It'll be 2nd and goal at the 5. Robert Brazil in there finally for the stop for Houston.
That's the man who is so great, Leroy Harris, on short yardage situations when the defense bunches in and he can break it all the way, as he did last year in a 17-6 victory over Baltimore. At that point, the most watched Monday night game ever. You're looking at Don Shula looking on, and he did it again this year in the preseason with Frank and me in attendance.
Shula, the 3rd winningest coach in the history of pro football. 2nd and goal. The ball right at the 5-yard line. Griese splits his backs. Puts into the end zone. The big tight end is there, Tillman, and the flag is down. We're going to have a holding call. It's going to be assessed against Miami. Referee tonight is Gene Bart. And it'll be walked off.
So, as Frank said, utterly machine-like offensively, suddenly a critical mistake. The holding call. against Miami, which has been just devastating in this quick drive downfield, combining the run with the pass, and evidence of Griese and his play-calling abilities.
Let's hear the call from Gene Barth.
Number 79, offensive holding, second down.
Wayne Moore, I told you at the top of the show, he's playing on the right side. He's missed most of the season with a bad knee. He had to come in there and play for Mike Curran, who has a knee problem. So the first call, and a tough call against Miami, that of Wayne Moore on the right side. Second down, 16. Norm Bulash is in, number 31. He's in there with Delvin Williams. Griese. And throws intended for Duriel Harris, and Duriel Harris being defended very smartly by Mike Reinfeldt, number 37. Let's take a look at him.
Yeah, watch him. He claimed interference, but no evidence of it, at least as far as the official was concerned.
And I'll tell you why. If the defensive back, under the new rules, takes his position, it's almost like basketball. You as a receiver cannot run into him. So there was a collision, no penalty. Reinfeldt playing it perfectly. Third and goal, the ball at the 15. The Dolphins have used up nearly 5 minutes of the first quarter. Single setback is Gary Davis. Movement again, a flag is up. Tillman gets nailed at the 10-yard line. Hit out there by Robert Brazil and J.C. Wilson, but again, a flag is down, line of scrimmage. And movement again on the part of the Oilers.
You can sense the excitement here in Houston. Bum Phillips could sense it last night at dinner. He couldn't sit still. There he is. You heard his talk with Frank. On the outside, apparently calm. The understated cowboy type. Droll. On the inside, chewing himself up. A fine man. But in this crowd tonight, because they had 4 Monday Night Football games come a cropper, let's listen to the call. He'll call it in just a second. He paces off the yardage.
65 defense, offside, third down.
Elvin Bethea.
And it'll be third and goal.
But suddenly they came alive on a Monday night game just a few weeks ago when they ripped the Steelers 24-17. And this is a fine football team. And they're going to put on a great show tonight. Win or lose.
Cephalo is in, number 81. That gives you 3 wide receivers. Duriel Harris, 82. Nat Moore, 89. Gary Davis in there in the set position. Griese again splits his backs. Nat Moore out of the backfield. Touchdown, Miami. And Howard mentioned that Nat Moore can do a lot of things. That time he came out as a circle back, wide open. Griese had every one of his receivers in the pattern. The 3-man rush could not get to him. He just waited till Nat Moore uncovered, swinging around to the left. Touchdown, Miami.
Look at it again. The circle pattern is described by Frank. In preseason, when we had Miami against Minnesota, now it'll be coming right at you, we talked about Shula's decision to use Nat Moore frequently as a third back in the backfield, and that is exactly why.
Garo Yepremian on for the conversion. The Dolphins in possession for nearly 5 minutes. Get on the scoreboard first. Yepremian hits. And the Dolphins have a 7-0 lead. The Miami Dolphins move the length of the football field. They leave the Houston Oilers 7-0, 10-10 remaining the first quarter.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special.
Hey, where you been? Well, it wasn't easy getting tickets for this game. Hey, Bob. Eddie, I know exactly what I want. I want the biggest steak you've got and a bottle of Lowenbrow. Steak and Lowenbrow. Dolan, you're a genius.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Here's to the chef. Here's to the bartenders.
Take any razor available in America. Any razor. Now there's an electric shaver that will shave as close or your money back. The Remington XLR. Remington can guarantee a close shave because only Remington has this remarkable 3-part system. The first head shaves close, the second closer. The unique intercept cutter is designed to shave longer hairs. The Remington XLR. It shaves as close as a blade or your money back.
Saturday, a special telecast at 1 o'clock Eastern. Sugar Bowl bound #1. Penn State battles top-ranked Pittsburgh. Friday afternoon on ABC.
Bob Griese, who missed really 5 full games, has directed the Miami Dolphins, 82 yards. They lead 7-0. Touchdown pass. Nat Moore working out of the backfield. Deep for Houston. Number 81 is Johnny Dearden. And number 39 is Larry Poole, who began his year with the Cleveland Browns. The Oilers picked him up as a free agent. And Poole, well, has it taken away from him. This is Tim Wilson. A big setback. Wilson moves out over the 20-yard line, out to the 26-yard line. Let's meet the offense. Dan Pastorini having his finest year. He has a lot of help from a couple of big men as setbacks. Earl Campbell, number 34. Tim Wilson, number 45. The wide receivers, Ken Barrow, 00. Mike Renfro, 82, will alternate with Rich Castor, number 88, at the other wide receiver. Mike Barber, the tight end, he's having a super year. And the offensive line that has allowed Pastorini to be sacked only 9 times. A super job by this offensive line thus far this year. On the first down, the big man, Earl Campbell, tries the right side, and sheer force and effort carries him for 4 yards, but it'll be 2nd and 6. Defensively for the Dolphins, all of these three, the front three, have had knee surgery. Bob Baumauer and A.J. Dewey, both this year. The linebackers, they're good, just like the Houston Oilers. Bullcamper, a big heavy hitter. Steve Toll, Rusty Chambers, Larry Gordon. The secondary, having a super year, is Tim Foley, number 25. Nat Moore on the sidelines with his 33 career touchdown and his 9th of this season. 2nd down and 8. Ball at the 24-yard line. Earl Campbell, right side. Runs into number 58, Bullcamper. We told you he's big and strong. He's 6'6", a 245-pounder, and he put it on Earl.
We've told you repeatedly that Bullcamper, a #1 draft choice, as you look at him isolated out of San Jose State, is a replica of Ted Hendricks, except that he's bigger and even stronger and quicker. This is going to be one of the superstars of the league for years to come.
Campbell gets a yard. It's 3rd down. Call it a long 6. The ball at the 30-yard line. Ronnie Coleman's in there, number 47. Probably would have been Rob Carpenter, but he's out for the season with the Houston Oilers. This is Ronnie Coleman, and Coleman finds a little opening and gets up close to the 35-yard line, short of the 1st down. Houston must punt.
Remember that Houston is a team with tremendous comeback capacity. As Don Shula noted in our pregame talk, great in the 2nd half, where Miami has been almost doleful by Shula's own admission. Man hurt on the field. We'll get a report on that as quickly as we can. And it is George Reno. George Reno's done a tremendous job this year on the offensive line for Houston. A key to the development of that unit. Under any circumstances, we have 2 converse situations here tonight, Frank. Miami brilliant in the 1st half, Houston in the 2nd half, all year long. So we've got a lot of excitement tonight. We'll be right back.
The system, TCR. Total control racing, slapless racing with the jam car, passing on the right or the left. Watch it again. This year, we've added van and truck sets. And for the ultimate challenge, there's the TCR 2+2 Dual Jam Car Special. And there's also the lighted Blazer Speedway with headlights for day and night racing. This is the system. TCR. Total control racing from Ideal.
Buick introduces a car destined to be a classic. The 1979 Buick Riviera. What most cars will never be, it already is. With almost every power assist available, standard. Yet for all its elegance, there is another side to Riviera. The traction of front-wheel drive and the power of turbocharging. Available on the Riviera and standard on the Riviera S-Type. The new Buick Riviera. At least once in your life, you should own a car this incredible.
Sunday, why did they want to take away her child? A question of love. Parental discretion advised.
The Houston Oilers left guard, George Reno, a 2nd-year man out of Penn State, down on the field. He's being administered to, it appears to be some damage, some sort of damage to the right leg. There are the trainer and medical staff of the Houston Oilers. And we told you about Friday college football coming your way. It's a doubleheader, of course. On Saturday, Michigan goes against Ohio State. Now, the winner of that will go to the Rose Bowl, where they'll meet USC. And Michigan, of course, led by Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback Rick Leach. Leach holds NCAA record for accounting for 79 touchdowns, sixth quarterback in NCAA history to have rushed more than 2,000 yards. He's some athlete. They, of course, go against Ohio State. We know all about being coached by the legendary Woody Hayes. That, of course, followed by one of the great games in college history, Notre Dame against USC. All NCAA college football coming your way Saturday.
The graphic was wrong. It should have been USC Notre Dame. But you saw Arena being taken off, and one hates to see that. It apparently is a knee. We'll get to George Reno later in the game. Critical in the offensive line of this fine Houston team.
Cliff Parsley will punt. Jimmy Cephalo is deep for Miami, not anticipating a large kick because Parsley has not been kicking deep, but he hits a good one this time. It doesn't turn over, however, it falls at the 21, and this is Cephalo. And Cephalo gets Miami in good field position, going out close to the 39-yard line. 43-yard punt by Parsley.
There's that doubleheader that Frank was talking about. The Buckeyes against the Wolverines. The Fighting Irish against the Trojans. What a day for college football.
Boy, they've been going at it for 50 years. SC and Notre Dame. I don't think Notre Dame's won out there since mid-60s.
You're biased.
Well, rightfully so. I think Notre Dame is a great football team. So does my alma mater. Miami, they went 82 yards the first time they had possession. They had the ball at their 39-yard line. Williams, 24. Leroy Harris, 38. Those are your setbacks. Harris ambles out to the 42-yard line. Gain of a long 3. It'll be second down and 7. James Young, 77, in on that stop for Houston.
All night long, deep in the trenches, 62 Langer will be going against Curly Culp, who has the perfect body for a nose guard in the 34 defense. And as the night goes on, the shifting fortunes will evidence themselves.
Miami leading 7-0. Griese to Moore. 7:26 remaining in the first quarter. Second down, 7. Ball at the 43. Griese back. This time he gets the blitz, and that's what we have been anticipating. James Young came in, but Robert Brazil was also there. Miami did not have enough men because Griese had put them all into the pattern. Griese goes down at the 30.
Now, we were anticipating the blitz in the earlier Miami drive. We didn't see it. There's Bum with his 4-year record, which is a good one. But the problem when you start to blitz Griese is, with his experience and his poise, Frank, I think you'll back me up on this, he picks you apart.
Indeed, he does. He will probably not be putting those backs into the pattern on second and long, the ideal blitzing down. There was a loss of 12 yards there, all the way back close to the 30-yard line. They must get near midfield for a first down. Gary Davis is in, number 27. Nat Moore in the backfield, number 89. Darrell Harris is deep. Back there is Willie Alexander. They both come down, and they're both come down out of bounds, incomplete. Now, had they come down in dual possession, inbounds, it would go to the offense. But they came down out of bounds, incomplete.
Which the crowd doesn't realize. They're booing because they thought 19 Willie Alexander had it. But it would not, in our opinion, have been called that way because of the rule just stated by the giffer. Under any circumstances, it's now a punt situation.
And George Roberts comes out for Miami. Guido Merkins is deep, number 29 for the Oilers. The Oilers not being too successful this year, returning punts. They lost the key man, Billy White Shoes Johnson, a great name in football. There's Merkins standing at his 30-yard line. Billy White Shoes Johnson is now wearing white crutches. Surgery a week ago for Billy White Shoes Johnson. Merkins taken all the way back to the 15. Fine kick by Roberts. And Merkins gets around the corner and gets out close to the 30-yard line. 54-yard punt by George Roberts. So we have 6:31 remaining in the first quarter. It's Miami 7, Houston nothing.
In 1906, Harvey Firestone built the first mechanically mounted pneumatic tires for his friend Henry Ford. You know, Harvey sold a lot of tires because Henry sold a lot of cars. And then in 1908, Harvey came up with the first non-skid tread pattern. You knew it was non-skid because it said so right on the tread. Harvey had a lot of good ideas. He was the first one to put rubber tires on a tractor, ever. You see, Harvey Firestone was never satisfied. He was always looking for a better way. And today, Firestone engineers are still looking for ways to make better tires. And that's led to the finest steel-belted radial Firestone has ever built, the 721. It's a product Harvey Firestone would have been proud of. Because, you know, he always said he wanted Firestone products to be the best today and still better tomorrow.
Back in the Astrodome, it's sold out, partisan crowd, of course, jubilant crowd. They've watched the Houston Oilers battle themselves into contention in the AFC Central Division, trailing the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the wild cards are there. Pastorini on 1st and 10. Fires out, intended for Wilson, and it's incomplete.
As you watch the Houston team tonight, you don't often read about assistant coaches. But the key to Houston's improvement this year has been the development, as you look at Dan Pastorini, in their offensive line. And the key to that development has been the coaching of a man named Joe Bugle the last 2 seasons. He came to the Oilers from the Lions. Prior to that, he served under Rick Forzano at the Naval Academy. I'm going to fill you in on him more during the course of the night because he's done a superb job.
At left guard for Houston as Dan Pastorini checks off, 2nd down and 10, is Morris Towns. Pastorini, play action to Campbell, finds a man open. He goes to his tight end, Barber, and Barber has a first down Miami territory at the 41.
Right there, you saw the improvement in that man, number 7, Dan Pastorini, this year. He's been around a long time. He's been, quite frankly, a disappointment. But this year, with a sound offensive line to help him, he developed. And you saw the pass to the fine tight end, Mike Barber. That pass, as we look at it coming right at us, had what we call touch. Pastorini never had touch in his earlier years. This year, he's developed it. He's become a mature quarterback.
And I'd wager you it was a checkoff by Pastorini. Looked over the defense, changed off. This time he goes to Campbell, and the big man who has to keep your front 3 or your front 4 honest, because you can't just disregard Houston anymore as to the running game. You can't play them strictly for a Pastorini pass. And that is what Campbell has given the Houston Oilers and given Dan Pastorini specifically.
73 yards against Atlanta on a swing pass. Got good blocking in the beginning, forced his own way all the rest of the way. This is a great football play.
2nd down, 7. Ball at the 38-yard line. Pastorini rolling slightly to the right. He had Ken Burrow open for a moment and overthrows. It'll be 3rd down, 7. Morris Thomas defending. Pastorini had him for a moment and did not deliver it quickly enough. There's Kenny Burrow, and we talked about Nat Moore as a penalty is going to be assessed. And it's going to be marked off against Miami. We'll get the call from Gene Barth in a moment. We'll tell you a little about Ken Burrow.
I think it was called against Den Herder.
Personal foul, number 83 defense.
That's it.
Vern Den Herder of Miami draws the personal foul. That moves the ball to the 23-yard line. 1st and 10 Houston. But Kenny Burrow, one of the great deep receivers, averaging over 19 yards of reception his career, but this year only 11. And that's not as bad as it sounds. That means that Pastorini has become a disciplined quarterback. He does not go for the bomb anymore all the time. Campbell, straight ahead of Campbell inside. Wilson. Tim Wilson. He's a big one also. 6'3", 220-pounder. He gets inside the 20.
Let me quickly note Wilson's in for Rob Carpenter, number 26, who's out for the rest of the year. Suffered a partially torn ligament in a weird accident, as you look at Tim, occasioned by Greg Sampson, Carpenter's own teammate, bumping into him laterally on a given play.
2nd and 7. Handoff, Campbell. And Campbell fights for yardage, gets down close to the 15, about the 16-yard line, short of the first down. It'll be 3rd, a long 2.
Campbell will be tackled tonight before it's over, once or twice, by the linebacker Steve Toll. The two did a commercial together. Toll said to me last night, Giff, watch Campbell. he'll never gain a yard. I'll kill him. The two are actually close friends.
Third down, well, call it 3. The ball marked right at the 16-yard line. Out comes Campbell. In comes Ronnie Coleman. He's a good receiver. Another wide receiver comes in, Rich Castor. Fired over the middle. And taken there by Mike Barber. He'll be marked down at the 4-yard line where he was touched when he went down. It'll be 1st and goal. Houston and the Oilers have roared right back.
This crowd's going crazy. Nothing but pom-poms as you look at it again in evidence. Everywhere among the 50,000, there are blue and white pom-poms. They've got a song for the Oilers. There they are. There are the pom-poms. It's like a college game.
You saw Barber crossing. That was a great catch because there was another Oiler offensive receiver cut right in front of him. He was almost picked off by his own man. 1st and goal at the 4. Campbell, he has great speed. And he has tremendous strength. Flag is down. Campbell close to the goal line on sheer strength and speed.
I don't care what penalty is called. I don't care. You saw it right there why Earl Campbell is a great back with that crunching power. Look at Bum.
Bum wants the touchdown. We have not seen an indication of such. It's about a foot short. That's where it'll be marked, and there will be a face mask called against Miami. I'll tell you, watch Campbell. He is supposed to go through the 5-hole, breaks it off to the outside, and just turns on the speed. And for a big man, he has great speed.
Penalty, 83 defense.
And Den Herder was called again for a face mask, and you saw the strength of this 224-pound Heisman Award winner from the University of Texas.
The kind of game we expected tonight. Two fine teams.
Campbell, forget it. 6 points. He was the man that kept them alive against New England on a critical short yardage situation that Tom Phillips said we had to have. They gave it to Campbell. It was the same kind of a play as a moment ago. He kept the drive alive, and of course they came on last week to beat New England 26-23. Look at him again.
Look at him again. He's the man who scored 3 touchdowns against the Pittsburgh Steelers on a Monday night. Oh, boy, this is a football game.
Tony Fritz is on. He'll attempt to tie it up. We have 3:32 remaining in the first quarter. Hard-hitting football, both teams. Fritz, right through the heart. And Earl Campbell, a little extra effort. He got the 1st and goal inside the 1-yard line. We'll be back in a wild Astrodome in just a moment.
At GMC, truck people's what we are. We got them big and small and in between. Even buses, but no cars. Cycles are not our chosen field, nor mowers for your lawn. But our trucks keep moving on.
We're GMC Truck and Coach Division of General Motors. Trucks are what we've been about for 75 years.
GMC.
The new Minolta XG7 35mm reflex camera is automatic, so you can concentrate on the action while the XG7 sets itself. All you do is focus and press the button. The optional auto winder even advances the film for you. With the XG7, you can change lenses fast, too. The Minolta XG7. Try it. You'll fall for it.
He gained over 4,400 yards at the University of Texas. He's a great young man, and just before we came back from commercial, as he typically does, raised the hook 'em horn sign and said, "Hi, Mom." A great affection for this young man, for his family. Tony Fritz set to kick off. Deep is Duriel Harris, 82. Gary Davis, number 27. 3:32 remaining in the first quarter. 2 long scoring drives has brought us to a 7-7 tie. Fritz, it'll be short. And hustling up and bobbling the ball. is number 27, Gary Davis. He picks it up and moves out to the 26-yard line where Miami will begin. Johnny Dearden hustling down there for the Houston Oilers. Let's take a look at Dearden. He's one of the key special team members. Well, I'll tell you, these special teams, there's a lot of noise out there.
Johnny Dearden can carry the football.
Whole bunch of racket on those special teams.
Well, they're right about that.
Discussion going on. All right, Griese brings them up. Williams, 24, Harris, 38, the setbacks. Nat Moore in motion. Del Williams, Harris in front with a block, and number 57, you saw Steve Kiner blitz, nailing Williams for a loss of a couple of yards, make it 3 all the way back to the 23-yard line. And let's watch number 57. He read it beautifully, sliced in between and behind Harris, between the guards, and down goes Del Williams. There he is. He finally found a home down here in 75 after being traded by Dallas to New England, then to Miami, to Washington, back to New England. He's found himself, too. A great young man.
He really rehabilitated himself. He's a long story, but he made that play, which is what matters now.
And 13. Del Williams. And Williams breaks a few tackles, gets back to the original line of scrimmage and more as he moves out to the 29-yard line, a gain of about 5. It'll be 3rd down and 8. Played his high school football right here in Houston, Kashmir High School, and you have to know that the NFL's leading rusher has to feel awfully good about coming back to where his high school chums can come and visit him.
Had a bad week last week, Frank.
Bought over
96 rushes, 144 yards.
Bought over 90 tickets for this game to pass out to his friends. The passing offensive specialty unit in for the Dolphins. Jimmy Cephalo is in. He wears number 81. Griese is back, has the time, looking for Harris, and Harris goes up with number 37, Mike Reinfeldt. Incomplete. Miami will have to turn it over. Good defensive play by Reinfeldt.
Look at it isolated. Dariel Harris from New Mexico.
He won his starting job, did Reinfeldt, a couple of years ago from C.L. Whittington, and you can't get him out of there. There he is, number 37. George Roberts comes out for Miami to do the punting. Had a beauty a short while ago. Guido Merkins is deep for the Oilers. He's standing at his own 29-yard line. And Roberts powders another long kick that takes Merkins back to the 23. Merkins again gets around the corner. A flag goes down as Merkins goes out of bounds out near the 40-yard line. But a flag is down.
There'll be a clip called on this play, but that's twice Merkins, as Frank has noted, turned the corner and got good returns. There you see his sign we must take notice of. Leonard Dose owns the Philadelphia Eagles. He has just, in this city, undergone open heart surgery. He happens to be a great gentleman. He happens to have his whole heart in professional football. And along with that sign, and everybody in this arena, all of our prayers are with you, Leonard.
A holding call against Houston, and it moves the Oilers back to their 28-yard line.
Holding, not a clip.
1:37 remaining in the first quarter. We're tied at 7. The quick toss. Campbell gets a block from Wilson, turns the corner. Tim Wilson with a fine block on Curtis Johnson springs Campbell out close to the 35-yard line. They'll mark it at the 34. A gain of 6. It'll be 2nd and 4.
A fellow made that tackle. 21, Rick Vogt, who deserves notice. I never thought he'd play football again. After Matt Snell racked him up, he was rushed to the hospital in the Super Bowl game of January 12, 1969. But this great veteran came back. And now he's a key member of that secondary on Miami. Frank?
2nd and 4. Pastorini calls his own plays. Switches off, goes to Wilson, and Tim Wilson, a second-year man out of Maryland, goes to the first down. I believe he has it. I I'll tell you, as the first down is indicated, between Wilson and Campbell, they've got a pair in there. Wilson is 6'3" and a 220-pounder. Was a blocking back most of the time in Maryland, even though he piled up over 600 yards there as a senior. Came in as a rookie last year, rookie #1 draft pick. He went over 300 yards. And a tough year for the Oilers offensively. A team with Campbell, they're quite a pair. 1st and 10, the ball at the 38-yard line of the Oilers. Wilson with the block, Campbell with the ball, and Campbell, sheer strength to the 43-yard line, gain of 5. It'll be 2nd and 5. Larry Gordon stops him there.
Sheer strength, but that charge is being provided by the offensive line. And I talked about Joe Bugle. Look at Campbell's game-by-game totals. 300-yard games right there. And now, 2 more right there. A brilliant rookie year thus far for Earl Campbell. He missed a game against Cleveland when Coleman came in and did a superb job. That's the thing Bum Phillips has developed here. Depth to face the injuries that are inevitable in this contact and often violent game.
The Oilers are going to let it count down. They're not going to attempt another play. This will give them an opportunity to have a quick chit-chat with the coaching staff on the sidelines. Pastorini moves over at the end of the first quarter. We'll be back with second quarter action in a moment.
We are super critical on that line. We'll knock down engines for a bad paint job, and that's no jive, man. Quality control is the most important aspect of the whole business.
James Rock, Quality Control Inspector. This is who we are and what we do at General Motors.
If the customer has problems with that car, then we got problems, because he's not going to be a General Motors customer again. We have 9 inspection stations. I go around to critical points on the line to ensure that they're doing the job right. I run hot tests. You can listen to that engine and you can say, well, this one's a good one or this one's a bad one. It's a good feeling. It's a little feeling of power. There's nobody going to overrule you. But we want to ensure that by the time that it's shipped to the assembly divisions, that engine does function in the way that it's designed to function. I feel personally responsible for that car. I know it's a good car. I know we build it and we build it right.
General Motors, people building transportation to serve people.
When you shoot a lot of pool and bars, you want to stay fast and loose, and you don't want to get filled up. That's why I drink light beer from Miller. It's got 1/3 less calories than their regular beer, and it's less filling. Plus, the taste is great. And even though a lot of people don't think pool is strenuous, let me tell you something. You can work up a real good thirst, even when you're just showing off.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
The top of the Astrodome as we pound down and take a look at this jam-packed stadium. 50,000 it holds, built in the early 60s. And they've seen a lot of memorable events. One of them I covered, Bobby Riggs. Remember that, Billie Jean King, along with Howard. Right now, the Oilers have the ball at their own 43, 2nd down at 5. It's all tied at 7 as we begin the second quarter. Earl Campbell with another fine block by Wilson, and Campbell has a first down, or very close to one at the 49-yard line.
I'll tell you, that Wilson is some blocker. He really is. He's out there in front of Earl every step of the way. First quarter stats. Look how even they are. Right down the line. And the score, even. Although Miami with a slight edge in possession, 7-7, and exactly the kind of football game we anticipated. As I said at the top, you couldn't have a better matchup in the NFL these days.
Houston, if you watched them in the past without Earl Campbell, you see a different football team. They can play a control game. Pastorini no longer has to rely on throwing it 80 yards to Ken Burrow. This man does it for him. Gets respect, if you will, from the defense. Here, Earl picks up a long 2 yards over the midfield marker down to the 49-yard line.
Earl Campbell's
2nd down and 8.
I'm sorry, Giff. Earl Campbell's number is 34. Each team plays the 34 defense. The nose guard, the 2 defensive ends, the 4 linebackers. And Curly Culp for Houston, exactly the right build for it. Baumhauer for Miami, a big kid, but with a low center of gravity, so he's right for it.
Doug Better's in defensively. A rookie from the University of Nevada at Reno for Miami, but Campbell gets the call, breaks it against the grain. A flag is down, and Campbell gets to the 40-yard line with a Houston first down, but a flag is down in an area that generally calls for holding. And there it is. It'll be marked off against Houston. Morris Towns, we've told you, is in offensively for Houston at left guard. He wears 76. George Reiner injured in the first quarter. We don't know whether he'll be back or not. Here's the call.
Number 76 offense, holding, second down.
It is Morris Towns, Reiner's replacement, who gets the call. There he is. Second-year man out of the University of Mississippi. So it'll be second down and 18. The ball marched all the way back to the 41-yard line as we take a look at Towns, who all of a sudden was thrown into the action tonight with the injury to George Reiner. Ronnie Coleman comes in, the passing offensive specialty unit of the Houston Oilers, single setback. Rich Castor is in, number 88. This is Coleman as Pastorini tries to change up, probably anticipating a blitz on the second and long, and Coleman gets out close to the 45-yard line. It'll be third down, 14. Den Herder is in there now with Bob Baumauer, number 73, and A.J. Dewey is back into the lineup. And Bob Matheson, yes, he's in there. He comes in on passing situations. He wears 53 for Miami. Rich Castor is 88. Mike Renfro is 82. Ken Burrow is 00 for Houston. Three-man rush by Miami. Pastorini has a time. Rifles it. In and out of the hands of his receiver. And that's Mike Barber, who sparked the Oilers' first drive to a touchdown. It'll be fourth down, and Houston must punt.
Barber's slow to get up. Knows the ball was right in his mitts. Knows he should have had it. And a Houston drive would have been sustaining.
You saw the strength of Pastorini, too, Howard. He can really drill it. He had to, and it was a very difficult catch, the one he should have had. You're right, but it was tough. It was moving. Cephalo is standing at his 15-yard line. Cliff Parsley will kick from somewhere around his 34. Oh, and he puts up a beauty. Takes Cephalo back to the 10. He takes a chance. And it's Miami some breathing room out close to the 17-yard line. A good 45-yard punt by Parsley. Cephalo did not go for the fair catch, and he gets Miami out of a little bit of trouble.
I'm Jim McKay for Timex. The most extraordinary thing about this quartz digital watch is not that it tells you the time all the time, night and day. Not that it's 99.997% accurate. Not that it costs only $32.95. No, the most extraordinary thing is it's a Timex.
Buick continues the turbocharging of America with the world's biggest choice of turbocharged cars, the 1979 Turbo Buicks. 4 cars, all powered by the remarkable turbocharged V6. To drive one is to want one. The new Turbo Buicks, the Riviera S-Type, the Sabre Sport Coupe, Regal Sport Coupe, and the Century Coupe and Sedan. When it comes to turbocharging, nobody else even comes close.
Saturday, 12:30 Eastern, a Rose Bowl shootout. Michigan battles Ohio State. Then at 4, number 3, USC tackles Cotton Bowl bound Notre Dame. NCAA excitement Saturday.
That, of course, coming your way on Saturday. But on Friday, Penn State will battle the Panthers of Pittsburgh. Joe Paterno with the #1 ranked team in the nation. He wants to win that #1 ranking on the football field. They've accepted the Sugar Bowl. They hope to meet #2 ranked Alabama down there. Joe Paterno has just turned out superb players, superb people from that fine school over the years. The 17-yard line. Miami takes possession. Is tied at 7. 12:49 remaining in the first half. Del Williams is designed to go inside. He has the speed to break outside, and he just does a lot of things other folks can't do. And he gets out over the 20-yard line to the 23-yard line. Stopped by Greg Rick out there, and I'll tell you, this man, Del Williams, is playing hurt tonight. He has a very sore neck. He did not work much this week. Sore ribs, and you're looking at what he did over the early part of the year and becoming the NFL's leading rusher.
That was a mistake there. It said New York Giants. Of course, the first game was against the Jets, a 33-20 defeat for Miami by the Jets, who've been a surprise team all year.
He got 7. Harris gets the call on the 2nd down and 3. And Harris moves out over the 25-yard line to the 27. He has a Miami first down.
Frank, the thing about Williams that's so impressive is his durability. He is apparently not susceptible to injury, at least reasonably so. Everybody is susceptible, of course.
I've watched him over the years, Howard. He never gets in trouble. He's like Jim Brown. All the great ones really never get in trouble with their body. They have their feet on the ground. They have balance. Just paid off in some great years for him. Over 1,200 yards in 76 with the 49ers, over 977, and now over 1,000 again with Miami. On 1st and 10. Griese, man open is Williams. And Dell takes it out to the 33-yard line. Pickup of 7.
There's Shula. Remember, we said Williams could run, he could block, he could catch. And you'll find Griese using him at unexpected moments, such as he just did. Coming off a run 2 plays earlier, effective run, and now a receiver.
Shula gave up a number 1 draft pick, a 5th round pick, a safety man, a good one. Vern Roberson gave up a wide receiver, a good one, Freddie Sullivan, and you're witnessing exactly why he made that decision tonight. 2nd down, we'll call it 4. Inside handoff. Harris finds an opening. Harris has the first down and twists loose at the 40 and gets to the 42.
Harris is the kind of back who'll consistently fool you out of Arkansas State. Look at it again. He doesn't have the quick beginning speed, apparently, but it's much quicker than you think. And then he has the strength to shake tackles, as he just did there.
You'll see the block by Ed Newman, number 64. And it was a beauty. Kuchenberg with his fine block. Bob Kuchenberg's quite a story, and Pro Bowler at left guard. When Wayne Moore got hurt this year, he moved out to left tackle.
He's going to make it a tackle
move, and he might make the Pro Bowl at left tackle for Miami. Super football player in his 9th year out of Notre Dame, Bob Kuchenberg. On 1st and 10. Harris is bowling forward behind Newman, Langer, Larry Little. Gets out close to the 44-yard line. A gain of 3. It'll be 2nd and 7.
Now, to put this in perspective for you, because these teams are so evenly matched. Greg Bingham right there, a great linebacker, underpublicized. Frank told you about 52 right there, Brazil. Kiner is figured in several of Frank's calls. But to put it in perspective, watch the way Griese mixes up his calls. He's an absolute master, changing his backs on the running calls, using them as receivers, using the wide receivers, and suddenly he'll go to 87, Tillman, the tight end. Watch.
2nd and 7. Flag is down. Griese hangs it high to Duriel Harrison. It bounces out of his hands. Incomplete, but again, flag is down at the line of scrimmage. Tell you another thing Griese will do as a procedure call goes against Miami. If he's in control of a game, he won't keep you up late at night. He is methodical, as you said, Howard, using his runners.
He is
the little short pass that keeps that clock rolling.
There is no slicker, more polished.
Right side of the offensive line was not set. Penalty refused. 3rd down.
There is no slicker, more polished, more imperturbable quarterback than Griese. It will not show anguish. The ball was laid right into Harris. 82 missed it, but the call was against his team anyway. He'll go back to work.
Interesting decision on Houston. It shows you the confidence they have in their defense.
Right.
They turned down the penalty that would have given Miami a 3rd down and 11. They now have a 3rd down and 7. Griese, he'll go to the sidelines. Down he goes. He could not get there. And he is down back at the 39. And a wise decision on the part of Houston.
Elvin Bethea, the great veteran. An early draft choice by Don Klosterman when he was the general manager of Houston. An all-pro any number of times. So steady. There he is. So consistent. Great, great player.
George Roberts comes out on 4th down. The decision I told you a moment ago was either a 3rd and 7 or 2nd and 11, and it really paid off for Houston. They have great faith in that defense. Roberts hits it. Deep is Merkins. And Merkins takes the ball, and it's not fair catch, and he's jarred loose from the football. They get it back, however. Courier was down there.
Flag down.
The flag is down. And Courier came up with the ball. I think that might just be a hat to mark where the hit was made. But the safety man hustles down there for Houston. And, of course, Bill Courier.
Correction, no penalty, first down.
You're right, Frank.
Here it is. This is a very chancy move, and it should have been the responsibility of number 20 to tell Merkins to call for a fair catch. Because he can see what's happening. Merkins is looking up to the top of this dome. He doesn't know how close they are. And maybe Merkins did order the fair catch, or rather, Courier ordered the fair catch, and Merkins just disregarded it. But anyway, it was fortunate for Houston. They recovered. They have a first down, the ball at their 13-yard line. Pastorini, play action. Dewey is in there with him. And a flag is down. Barber was deep downfield, and running stride for stride was Norris Thomas. And they collided. A flag is down.
41, Norris Thomas, the free agent who gave back his bonus the first year when he couldn't make the club. Came back. One of the best cornerbacks in the league, but he did interfere on that play.
Number 25, defense, interference, first down.
And the call goes against Foley.
Foley. Let's look at this again. I thought clearly it was Thomas. No, there's Foley.
There's Foley and Thomas.
Pushed off him.
Both in a pushing match, deep downfield. First down, Houston, their own 49-yard line. A 36-yard, in effect 36-yard penalty.
Timmy pushed off.
8:19 remaining in the first half. Here comes a reverse, and ending up with it is Mike Renfro. And Renfro, with a nifty bit of running, is close to the 42-yard line. It could be close to a first down. A little rookie out of TCU, the son of a great football player in the 50s and 60s with Cleveland, Ray Renfro. Let's look at it again. Castro first.
Look at it again. Castro's been used on the end around any number of times this year.
And here comes Renfro.
But this time handing off to Renfro, whom Otis Taylor has said within the next 3 years will be the best wide receiver in the NFL. You know about Renfro, you know about his dad, you know his history. Houston is now red hot.
Short of a first down. It'll be second and short. The ball at the 42-yard line. Play action. Screen goes to Renfro. He's got the first down. And he gets inside the 35-yard line to the 34. This little man, 6 feet, 184-pounder, set a couple of Southwest Conference records as we take a look at him. His dad has got to be awfully proud of him, but he had 162 receptions over his career, 17 touchdowns, 2,739 yards, those Southwest Conference records.
What a steal he was, Frank.
Down here.
What a steal he was on the 4th round. Less than 7 minutes left in the half.
Ball at the 34-yard line. Tim Wilson and Campbell with a block, but breaking through number 877, A.J. Dewey. Pick up of a couple. It'll be second down and 8. Here's A.J. Dewey. We told you about that knee surgery. That took place in a game that Howard and I covered back in August, the Hall of Fame game. He had surgery August the 3rd. And he's back to the form that he showed last year when he was NFL's Defensive Rookie of the Year. Second-year man from Rutgers. Second down 8. Pastorini, good play action, goes to Kenny Burrow. First down, inside the 20 at the 17.
How measured, how purposeful Pastorini has become as a quarterback. All of the NFL players looking on tonight know exactly what I mean. He knows how to mix his stuff up now. He's got the touch. He can loft the ball. There's Burrow isolated. On the record, looking at all of the figures, number of receptions, yards gained per reception, and so on, Burrow has to be in the top 3 of the NFL. A great receiver. and Pastorini using them all well.
On 1st and 10, Campbell left side, and Campbell rumbles inside the 15-yard line. Gain of 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Bum Phillips looking on. Flashes something out to Pastorini. And, of course, this man who has become the 3rd winningest coach in the history of this game. In 16 years, he's averaged a little over 11 victories a season in NFL competition. That's truly remarkable. They're just inside the 15 on 2nd down and 7. Both backs out of the backfield. Lays it out of the end zone. He was looking to his tight end Barber.
Threw it away.
Well covered by Gordon of the Dolphins. Looked for Castor. Castor was covered. Threw it away.
Victimized by a late rush. Did the right thing. Threw it away. Wasn't going to give up the yardage with a sack. He's grown a lot, this man.
This Oiler offensive unit, as a matter of fact, leads the entire NFL through 11 games in preventing their quarterback from being sacked. And a lot of it has to do, again, with Pastorini calling not the long plays that he used to call for so many years. He has Earl Campbell. Now he doesn't have to. He has another fine wide receiver in Renfro. He has Rich Castor. He has a lot of tools. 3rd down, 7. Barber. Touchdown, Houston. And Pastorini started to run. He looked up. 86 was there. Dumped it off. 6 points. The Oilers.
I want to tell you something. 3 people blitzed on that play. Pastorini read it. He slipped through. And all alone was his tight end, Mike Ball. You had a quick glimpse of Shula. He knows exactly what happened. Right there.
Tell you a little bit about Barber. He came up a couple of years ago. Missed his entire rookie year with tendonitis. And this year he has really come to form. He came back and only had 9 receptions a year ago. And he had 27 coming into tonight. And he has been the key man in the 2 Houston scores. 3 passes he's caught tonight, 56 yards. Tony Fritz for the conversion. Houston out in front. 4:45 remaining in the first half. And here's a good look at Mike Barber out of Louisiana Tech and living up to what they thought he'd be when he came up as a rookie a couple of years ago. We'll be right back.
I sell insurance. Up to now, I've never used a computer.
A computer would help, but I'm not a programmer.
In real estate, I can't take months to learn to use a computer.
In this IBM classroom, we've just taught those people to use a computer in 3 hours.
Because IBM researchers have developed a new technique called QBE, Query by Example. It's easy to use. Once the basic information is in the computer, you can ask for it, organized the way it would be on paper, in tables like this.
I want to see which of my salesmen are doing better than average in sales quota. I develop a simple table. There's my answer.
QBE is really easy to learn, and it's going to help to control my costs.
These days, that's important.
We at IBM are in a competitive industry. We work hard to make our products do more for less money. And part of that is making them easier to use, too. IBM, helping put information to work for people.
Tuesday, a bullet breaks up the team, and Starsky gets a new partner.
There they are. College crowd.
Now you hear the song. They're going crazy here in Houston. The greatest football team. You hear this?
Tony Fritz nails it. This will be Durrell Harris. And they're about to cut their song short as Harris turns the corner and gets out to the 40-yard line. Fine return, taken out of bounds by Bill Courier.
Yes, they're going crazy in Houston, but the Oilers, showing their comeback capacity from a quick Miami touchdown, have taken a 14-7 lead, but they're against a great football team. There is no better offensive team in the NFL than the Miami Dolphins. And as I said, this is the kind of game we expected. 4:32 left in the half. Let's see what Griese does with his team, with the clock, with the Oilers.
Harris with a return out to the 41-yard line. Looked like he was trapped back at the 20. Miami, good field position. Andre Tillman adjusts. Griese, both backs out. Fires out, Duriel Harris. Fighting for a first down at midfield. This will be dependent upon where it's marked. He was in the arms of Greg Stemrick. Duriel Harris, who came in tonight's game, along with Nat Moore, with 32 receptions. The two of them had 10 touchdowns between them. Nat Moore got the first touchdown for Miami. So he has 9. The first down is accomplished by Harris at the 49-yard line. First and 10, Miami. Griese, number 1 rated quarterback in the NFL, hurt his knee, final preseason game this year, missed 5 games, back as strong as ever. Nat Moore in motion. Del Williams. Down goes Del Williams. Ted Washington, number 59, was there first. He got a little help from his inside linebacker, number 57, Steve Kiner. There's a loss back to the 48-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 12.
Look at that sign. Look out, America. Here comes Houston. Why not? Together with Atlanta, it's one of the 2 greatest growing cities in this country. And they've got a feel for this team. They've waited a long time for professional football excellence in Houston. They've got it this year.
It's 2nd and long. This is the down that Houston likes to shoot the linebackers. Norm Bulash is in as one setback now, along with Del Williams. And they were coming, and a flag goes down as Elvin Bethea was just a little too eager. You saw the bottom of your screen, number 65, move a little early.
You sure call that right.
Oh, they were
induced. You sure call that wrong. It was induced. But that can happen.
Being marked off. Here's the call. Obviously going to go against Kuchenberg.
Illegal procedure, number 67 offense, 2nd down.
Bob Kuchenberg, left tackle. He can't move once he's set. Well, he moved his foot back just as Griese was pulling away. Good call.
He induced the encroachment by Bethea. At least that's the way the officials call it.
The situation remains defensively, however, for Houston. 2nd and long. 2nd and 17. The ball at the 44-yard line. Griese knows also that they come in this situation. And around, this is Nat Moore. Great open field tackle, Robert Brazil. That's hard to do against somebody like Nat Moore, but this is a very special football player, Robert Brazil.
That's why Frank talked about Brazil at the very opening of the telecast. A number 1 draft choice. A teammate of Walter Payton's out of Jackson State.
You know, I'll have to tell you how quick Nat Moore is. And Robert Brazil is 6'4", nearly 240 pounds, just almost as nifty as he is. Put his sights right on the waistline, never deviated with any of the moves of the arms and the legs. Perfect tackle. Nat Moore
got shook up a little bit, but it was a good surprise call by Griese.
He was looking for a blitz, in which case there would have been 7 of the Oilers into his backfield. If Moore could have turned the corner, it could have been a big play. 3rd down, 14. Ball at the 46-yard line. Gary Davis back in with Norm Bulash for Miami. Jimmy Cephalo, flank wide to the right. Looking for Duriel Harris. Harris jarred but holds on down at the 32-yard line. First down Miami, and that was a great catch.
What a great play. A perfectly thrown ball by Griese and a stunning catch by Duriel Harris. You're looking at it, coming right at you.
Griese, will take him in full stride.
Oh. And boy, was he hit by number 37, Mike Reinfeldt, who's been playing a great game.
That's hard to hold on to.
Oh.
The first down.
Nobody
inside
knows
the 33-yard line.
Nobody knows better than you, Giff, how hard it is to hold on to.
They will not get the play off. The 2-minute warning sounded. The Oilers 14-7 over the Dolphins. A nifty football game. We hope you're enjoying it. We'll be right back.
Solidness and friendliness, you like the likes of Opal. Nimbleness and spaciousness, you like the likes of Opal.
There are lots of things to like about our trusty little Opal, like tender, loving workmanship. So if you're looking for a great Japanese car, look for a great American name.
You like the likes, the sheer delights. You like the likes of Opal.
Wendy's presents hot and juicy hamburgers. If you've ever had a dry, chewy hamburger, you're gonna love Wendy's hot and juicy hamburgers. Wendy's hot and juicy hamburgers, made only of 100% pure, fresh beef.
Back in the Astrodome, Frank Gifford along with Howard Cosell, the Miami Dolphins, down by 7 points to the Houston Oilers. 2 minutes remaining in the first half. The Dolphins with the 1st and 10. Ball just inside the 33-yard line of the Houston Oilers. A great catch by number 82, Duriel Harris, one of the gifted outside receivers of the Miami Dolphins. Gave them a first down at this position. Harris goes out to the right. Nat Moore to the left. Bob Griese has all of his timeouts, 3 with which to work. Harris, screen. And Leroy Harris steps out of bounds. He had Newman out in front of him on the screen, and Newman got a block. Harris moves down to about the 24-yard line. A gain of 8. It'll be 2nd down and 2.
You're looking at Bum Phillips, whose team is at 7-4. His quest for the playoffs very much alive. The game means so much to him. And for Don Shula, a chance to tie New England. Right there is Don with Carl Tassif, one of his assistants, for first in the AFC East. And they meet New England in our wind-up Monday Night Football game of the year. Gift
2nd and 2. Handoff. Williams gets the first down around the 21-yard line. Ted Washington in there on the stop.
And if you're a pro football fan, no matter which team you're rooting for, it doesn't matter. The kind of playing you see tonight has to excite you. And if you're watching Bob Griese, that was Delvin, and he's got 8 for 45 yards. He may yet hit 100. You've got to admire that quarterback. He knows how to move a team, how to use the clock.
Seconds ticking off. Griese, he's been there before. There's no rush, no pressure. Duriel Harris put the arms out. He could not quite reach it. It was close to 6.
Now, Bob is not happy with himself. He had Duriel. A perfectly thrown ball. You see Don Shula shaking his head. He also had number 87, Andre Tillman, the tight end, whom he's not yet used tonight, alone underneath. And the tight end, 87, may be the man to watch on this series of downs.
Clock stop, 1:16. Good defensive maneuver by Willie Alexander. He was right with Duriel Harris. The ball would have had to have been perfectly thrown.
That's right.
And it was not incomplete. Clock stop, 1:16, 2nd down 10. Norm Bulash is in with Del Williams. Bulash a better receiver than Leroy Harris. Consequently, Don Shula uses him in passing deals. Del Williams. And Del Williams has a first down inside the 10-yard line. And this man can do just about anything you want on the football field. We've even seen him throw a couple of nice blocks tonight for Harris. 1st and goal.
Dr. Cooley performed, as you look at Dell, the open heart surgery, a very famous surgeon on Leonard Toast. But Bob Griese, in his own way, performed surgery on the opposition. Just a beautiful, beautiful quarterback to watch.
Del Williams moving out of bounds inside the 8-yard line, stops the clock with 1:09 remaining in the first half. It's 14-7 over the Oilers. Miami is threatening. Both backs out of the backfield. Griese fires out to Bulash, and he gets inside the 2-yard line.
Big Boo.
And now Bob Griese will use one of his timeouts. So Bulash has moved Miami even closer to the 2-yard line. Griese will go over to confer with Don Shula, and we'll be back in a moment.
The Computer Society. It's big news everywhere, and now it's in color TV. Computer Color 330, new from Magnavox. Computer Color 330, the all-electronic color system with 25% more lines of resolution. That means a sharper, crisper color picture than ever before possible. Touch-tune television with Computer Color 330, new from Magnavox.
I can't say my son and I have the same taste, but I want the performance and dependability he's been getting from his tires in my tires. That's why I bought the Advantage. Best radial BF Goodrich ever made. Excellent mileage and amazing ride and handling.
3 years of art school. The Advantage. Just one tire from the best line of radials ever made by BF Goodrich. The other guys.
Back in the Astrodome, 1 minute and 1 second remaining in the first half. The Miami Dolphins have moved to the 2-yard line of the Houston Oilers. The key play, a great catch by Duriel Harris out around the 25-yard line. Got them out of trouble, a long yardage situation. Bulash has just taken his first reception of the night and moved inside the 2. It's second and goal. Harris back in. The running tandem of Del Williams, 24, Leroy Harris, number 38. Miami with 2 timeouts. Del Williams moves ever closer to the goal line. I don't believe he got in. He'll be right.
He's right at
the goal line.
Right at it.
Let's take a look from our sideline camera. Harris leading the way. That's all good backs. Del Williams lowering the shoulder to keep them away from his legs. Tried to put the ball across the goal line, but they mark it inches short.
Inches away. 34 seconds left, counting down. Griese's got 2 timeouts left.
Del Williams, touchdown Miami. They're within 1 of tying it up.
What a football game this is. Repeat, everything we expect. 2 superbly matched teams. 2 likely playoff entrants. Look at it again.
He just has to cross the plane of the goal line. That's 6. Referee, of course, headlines been right on the goal line. You can see it yourself. A few scattered boos, but of course this is a partisan and a wildly enthusiastic Houston Oiler crowd. Strike will hold for Garo Yepremian in his attempt to tie up this game with 21 seconds remaining in the first half. Mind you, halftime highlights of some wild happenings around the NFL yesterday coming your way at halftime. So stay with us. It's all tied at 14. It figured to be this way, and that's how it is with 21 seconds remaining in the half, 14-14.
Well, that's my team, the Miami Dolphins.
Hi, I'm Steve Toll of the Miami Dolphins. I'd like to tell you about one of the wonders of our Florida Gold Coast. Just a few miles off these beaches, there's a giant river in the ocean that brings warmth to our city throughout the year. It's called the Gulf Stream, and it makes this a magic city. These people are part of the magic of Miami, too. They live here, they work here, and they're here to help. They work at the United Way's Information Referral Service. It's called INR. This little computer has the answers to 6,000 different problems. People problems that can happen to any one of us. And INR doesn't forget. It followed up on thousands of cases last year to make sure people get the help they need. Does United Way work in Miami? Just ask the thousands of people here who know it does. United Way works in your town too. Thanks to you, it works for all of us, United Way.
The preceding announcement was brought to you as a public service by Steve Toll of the Miami Dolphins and the National Football League.
That's got to be Bob Griese. Right there. What a quarterback. No words to express my admiration for that young man's talents.
Yepremian dribbles it along the ground. Taken there at the 38-yard line by Kurt Knopf. Clock showing 18 seconds. And that was we'll see what Pastorini wants to do, because he may attempt to move close enough for a field goal. He has timeouts to work with, and he has 18 seconds.
And at halftime, we're going to see the unbelievable finish to that Giants game. Now, Frank was one of the greatest Giants ever to play the game. Oh, there's a welcome to us. Thank you. And it is the fastest growing city in America. It's now the 5th market, and it's a great, great town.
Miami in a prevent. Pastorini says no, and he gives it to Earl Campbell, who gets out over the 50-yard line into Miami territory, down around the 48-yard line. Pastorini quickly calls timeout. That play used 6 seconds. There's 12 seconds on the clock. And Pastorini coming with the draw play. Miami in a prevent defense, and it's very difficult to defense against that draw.
Well, he's
planning on rushing the passer.
He's got to get a quick pop of Frank to get within Fritch's range for the field goal attempt. With 12 seconds left, he can do it. Still, Miami was right to have your Premian kick the way he did to prevent the risk of a long run back.
Rich Castor is in there as the measurement is being taken at the field now. Campbell close to the first down. Castor, of course, made a key catch last week for a touchdown to pull the Houston Oilers from, well, they made a remarkable comeback. They were down 23-7 at halftime. And they came back and won that game 26-23. It was Castor's touchdown catch with 2:39 left in that game. But he's in the ball game. He was quite a steal for the Oilers. They had to give up a couple of 7th-round draft picks for number 88, who right now is at the bottom of your screen. Second and short, you saw how much. Campbell now 12 yards short of 1,000 on the season. Barber is there and is picked off. Picked off by Rick Vogt, his 4th interception of the year. And boy, I'll tell you, these two guys back there, Foley and Vogt, are having great years. Vogt, of course, much traveled. He was an all-pro for Don Shula at Baltimore, 66 and 60, and just remarkable athlete.
As I said before, I never thought he'd come back from the hit he suffered by 41 Matt Snell of the Jets in the Super Bowl game of January 12, 67. They rushed him to the hospital. Not only has he come back, he's regained his old efficiency. As for Tim Foley, he used to be a cornerback, but now at strong safety, lacking some of his earlier speed when the Dolphins were an unbeaten team. He is doing a superb job.
And he had to, because Norris Thomas just took that job over and moved him to strong safety, where he is doing a superb job. This will run the clock out. Del Williams. Dan Washington takes him out of bounds, but the clock had expired. So, at the end of the first half, it's 14-14, and we'll be ready for our halftime highlights after this message and a word from our local stations.